Welcome to the Boss Audits and Investigations. And thank you for being here for another episode of the Scientology Chronicles. And we are going to jump right into it. So, this is another document that I came across. And basically, it's the interview and the story of what's happened to a Mr. Charles Berner. And this is from December 7th of 1970. On December 3rd, 1970, I interviewed Mr. Charles Berner. Mr. Berner is the head of the Institute of Ability, a religious organization with world headquarters at the end of Crystal Creek Road in Lucerne Valley, California. I was referred to Mr. Berner by a Mr. and Mrs. Jack Horner, who stated Berner was a former Scientologist. I had previously phoned Mr. Berner and arranged to meet him when he came to the Hollywood branch. When I met Mr. Berner and identified myself, he scrutinized my credentials and recorded my identification number. He explained that he wished to be very careful and sure of whom he was speaking. Mr. Berner, when stated he would talk to me, provided I understood his religion permitted him to tell only the truth, regardless of who it benefited or detrimented. Mr. Berner appears to be about 35 years old. In response to my questions, he related the following information. Mr. Berner is a high school graduate and has received formal education in physics and engineering, although he holds no advanced degree. Mr. Berner became acquainted with Scientology in June of 1950. During the years 1954 through 1957, he was the president of the Church of Scientology of California and was instrumental in procuring nonprofit status for that organization. He relinquished the presidency to Julia L. Salmon around 1957 and believes that organization was no longer nonprofit under the leadership of Julia Salmon. Mr. Berner was an employee for the Scientology organization for a 6-week period in 1962. This was his only period of employment by Scientology. Mr. Berner remained associated with Scientology until February of 1965, when he was declared a suppressive and an enemy by L. Ron Hubbard Sr. and excommunicated from the Scientology organization. Mr. Berner stated he was the first person to be declared, quote unquote, enemy number one. I asked Mr. Berner why he was declared these things by L. Ron Hubbard Sr. Mr. Berner replied that he was told by L. Ron Hubbard Sr. to stop using particular Scientology teachings that he himself, Berner, had been taught by the organization, and Mr. Berner refused. Mr. Berner added that he also refused to do things demanded by L. Ron Hubbard Sr. that he, Mr. Berner, considered unethical. These included appearing on juries within the organization for the purpose of unfairly condemning people in Scientology. Mr. Berner also felt there were innumerable monetary injustices imposed upon members in the form of required training. Mr. Berner stated he spent a total of $124,000 on Scientology training. Following his excommunication, Mr. Berner received about 250 letters of disconnection from Scientology members. These letters informed him of his ostracism and also contained pornographic material. In the fall of 1965, Mr. Berner received a quote unquote fair game order from the organization, informing him he was now fair game for any and all acts. Mr. Berner stated he received other life-threatening letters from the organization and went to the FBI in Los Angeles and Mojave, California. Mr. Berner stated on May 30th of 1968, Memorial Day, mailing lists and tape recordings were stolen from his Institute of Ability, then located at Placentia, Costa Mesa, California. Mr. Berner stated he believes this was the doing of Scientology organization, considering what was stolen. Office equipment at the institute worth more than $5,000 was not taken by the culprits. This incident was investigated by the local police. In September of 1968, two incidents occurred which Mr. Berner described as threats to his life. The first involved forgery of Jack Horner's signature on a letter sent to Berner and on a contract signed with the Los Angeles Herald Examiner for advertising space. Both letter and the ad concerned an evening speech to be given by Jack Horner in September at the at the Maskers Club. Mr. Berner attempted to attend this speech, but became lost and arrived late. The events that occurred before his arrival were related to him by friends in attendance, some of whom are still in the local area. At the meeting, members of the Scientology Sea Org appeared in uniform and closed off the building. They played foreboding music, orally discredited Berner, and declared to the audience that Charles Berner was insane and that Berner will burn. The frightened audience was permitted to leave as Berner arrived at the scene. Mr. Berner stated that there was no police investigation of this incident and that Jack Horner was in Chicago at that time. The second incident involved the use of firearms. Three armed men visited the Lucerne Valley headquarters of the Institute of Ability looking for Charles Horner and using walkie-talkies. Berner was not there at the time, and abilitists at the scene observed these men fire upon the Institute's property. No individuals were shot, but a car license plate number was reported to the deputy Jim Clerk of the San Bernardino Sheriff's Office. Subsequently, an individual was arrested by the Orange County Sheriff's Office in Santa Ana and pleaded guilty to the witnessed acts. This person was a Scientologist. Mr. Berner could not recall the person's name or type of court sentence received. Mr. Berner stated he has been recently harassed by the Scientology organization. On October 18th, 1970, the Institute of Ability sponsored a speech by Mr. Berner, Self-Realization, A New Approach, at New York University, New York City. While setting up the lecture facilities, several people inquired about the lecture by Berner were to be held at the place. They identified themselves as Scientologists and later attended the lecture. During Mr. Berner's talk, these people harassed him and walked out during the middle of the lecture. A short time later, police arrived at the scene and cleared the building because they had received a bomb threat. Mr. Berner believes Scientologists were responsible for the bomb threat. Mr. Berner could not recall any other incidents of harassment or threat. Mr. Berner stated the Sea Org was the same as the ethics board in Scientology and was the quote-unquote enforcer within the organization. He stated it is staffed with non-U.S. citizens, and the only way to curb its activities was with the aid of Interpol. Mr. Berner stated he believes Scientology is a religion because the root of the philosophy is spiritual. He added that Scientology treats the body through the spirit. He believes L. Ron Hubbard Sr. does wish to help people and that Scientology does indeed help people. He feels, however, that the Scientology organization is now militant, mean, destructive, and a damaging organization because of the militant control exercised upon Scientology members. Mr. Berner stated Scientology is not a non-profit organization. He did not know what happens to the money taken in by the organization, but stated he roomed for a short while with a former treasurer of the organization at St. Hill Manor, Sussex, England. This person was John Lawrence Jr., now residing in Arrow Rock, Missouri, as is John Lawrence Sr., his father. Mr. Berner stated he considers L. Ron Hubbard Sr. paranoid, schizophrenic, and suffering from megalomania. He stated L. Ron Hubbard Sr. is insane. He believes L. Ron Sr. goes to any means to accomplish his goal of conquering the planet, employing the philosophy of quote unquote, the end justifying the means. He stated that he personally visited L. Ron Hubbard Sr. in 1962 at St. Hill Manor, Sussex, and tried unsuccessfully to cure his paranoia. Mr. Berner first met L. Ron Hubbard Sr. in 1953. I asked Mr. Berner if he knew of chain locker practices existing within the organization. He replied that he had never been aboard the Scientology ship and never witnessed such incidents. He referred me to Bernard Green, head of the Awareness Center, West End Avenue, New York City, for information regarding chain locker treatment of Scientologists. Mr. Berner reported that Green's 4-year-old stepson was placed in a chain locker by L. Ron Hubbard Sr. Mr. Green was subsequently filed lawsuits because of this. I discontinued the interview at this point and informed Mr. Berner I probably would like to talk to him again. He replied he would talk to me at any time. James DeGrazia, Inspector, Los Angeles District. Whew, a lot to process in that document. What do you guys think? I mean, it doesn't sound any different than what we're hearing that's happening right now, right? It's all the same stuff, right? Disconnection, people being declared suppressives, fair game. It's all the same. It doesn't change. Whether it happened in 1950, 1960, 1970, or 2024. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And what do you guys think? Do you think it's the same? Always remember, spread love and kindness wherever you go. Kids can't consent, and no more kids in Scientology. See you on the next one.